Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
You know, you can be reverent of nostalgia while still having a good laugh about it at the same time. And if you're within the sound of my voice, that must mean that you're in the seats with once more. As always, my name is Dave Voigt, and I'm the host of this podcast, where we sit down with a wide-ranging variety of industry professionals. We pick their brain about current projects, state of the industry, how they got started, and so very much more, in a light and in a conversational fashion. And if you like how we do things around here, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that you do. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Give us the old 5-star rating, basically wherever you get your podcasts. We're at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Google, pretty much everywhere. And plus, we archive every single one of our episodes over at our In the Seats YouTube channel. So if you can give us a like and subscribe there as well, we would absolutely appreciate it. Also, we're on the social media, as the kids call it. We're on the Facebook, we're on the Twitter, and we're on the Instagram at, well, where else would we be? We're at In the Seats for all sorts of fun updates. And finally, and I do dare say most importantly, please pay us a visit over at In the Seats, intheseats.ca, for all the latest and greatest from the world of film, television, basically the moving image at large. Because if we love to watch it and write about it and talk about it, we love it when you come by and read about it and listen about it. So please pay us a visit. On this episode, well, we got a fun one. It is on Blu-ray now, from our friends over at Paramount Pictures Home Entertainment. It's been sitting a little dormant for a while, but it's 1987's Back to the Beach, where we rejoin Frankie Vaughan and Annette Funicello, who have grown up and put aside their beach partying lifestyle as they visit their daughter in Southern California and discover that, maybe, just maybe, they've got a few wild times still left in them. It's a little corny. It's a little cheesy. It's very much of the 80s, but I was shocked to see how well this film still plays. It's genuinely a lot of fun, and it's just it's one of those films that you're just going to put on and just sort of enjoy the ride. I mean, and that's really at the end of the day what cinema's all about, enjoying the ride. And in advance of the new Blu-ray release, we had the unique pleasure of sitting down and talking with director Lyndall Hobbs about her making of the film. It's the only feature film she ever did, and it was a bit of a unique one, but again, it's one of those pieces of Hollywood history that is fascinating to watch, because Lyndall had a history on Saturday Night Live. Then she got the Back to the Beach job and did a lot of music videos, some TV. But from a directing standpoint, she had a short-lived career, which, it is what it is. But when we look at Back to the Beach, it has really sustained itself, and it's a fun ride. And I mean, I'm glad she got to do it, and I'm glad we got the opportunity to talk about it, and working with icons like Frankie and Annette, and infusing it with some 80s fun as well, with a lot of, if you're a music person, there's a lot of bands in here that you'll appreciate made some appearances, because this is a little slice of pop culture history that I had forgotten was this good, to be quite frank. It's really a fun film, but if you're interested, go to your local retailer and pick yourself up a copy of Back to the Beach, which is available on Blu-ray now. But first, enjoy our talk with Lyndall, because between you and me, it's a pretty good one. Hi, Lyndall. First off, just thank you so much for the time today.
Pleasure. Thank you. Hi there.
Now, I mean, I finally got a chance to see the movie. I don't think I'd seen it since 87. I mean, I've forgotten how much fun it was. Can you walk me through the story, I guess, Paramount calling you and deciding, they want you to do this film for them?
Yes, Paramount. Yeah, I mean, my ex-husband was doing a fabulous rewrite on the script, and I was running around showing my various things I'd done. And yeah, they hired me. I've done music videos, and oh my God, my drive's making a noise. Yeah, they hired me. It was a strange thing. I had not imagined I would do such a silly light movie. I had my design set on something. I was developing something quite serious at the time. Anyway, guess what? Back to the Beach came along, and I did it. Sorry.
Were you sort of prepared for, I guess, maybe the sort of the satirical elements of the film? Because I mean, I had forgotten how much fun it kind of pokes at the genre that made, Frankie and Annette so famous.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Take them seriously? I mean, my ex-husband was pretty silly and pretty jokey and pretty satirical, and I mean, what choice do you have but to make fun of them? And yeah, they're good sports. They're professionals. They were totally thrilled and delighted. I mean, obviously Frankie had been wanting to, get it going for a long time. He was very instrumental in getting it going. And then, yeah, Chris Thompson put a very witty spin on it. Yeah, obviously making fun of them, but, in a very good-natured way. And obviously they approved. I never had one word of discussion about, can we change this line? That's a bit silly. I'd like to be taken more seriously here. No, they were just delightful. They made life easy. I mean,
no, I've got to imagine that. I mean, the film is basically half musical, just sort of leaned into your wheelhouse anyway, in terms of just sort of staging and shooting the film.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, no, I did. I was up against a lot of, sorry, I'm looking for my drink and I've lost it. Oh, there it is. It wasn't really written as a musical at all. So I kind of brought all that to it. And Paramount, were fine with it, but they didn't give me another day, another dime to accommodate the fact that it was suddenly a musical. And along the way, there was lots of discussion of, well, I think we better cut this number. Jamaica Scar's going to take way too long to shoot. But, I said, no, we can do it. We can do it. And, we did it. Everybody just sort of was so thrilled. There was such a nice vibe. Everybody was excited to be with Frankie and Annette. And somehow it all was one of those films you hear about them, people go on about it. But, it was a nice feeling. There was no, weirdness with anybody. Everybody, made it happen. And we did it, I think, I can't remember. I think it was like 25 days. I mean, it was a very quick shoot on the beach in the winter in Malibu.
I mean, it's such a happy film too. And I mean, it's got I love the legacy of this film just because it's going to put a smile on people's faces when they get to see it again. I mean, I'm kind of curious because like you said, this may not necessarily have been the movie you wanted to direct, but there it was. Like, how do you feel just having this in sort of the pop culture, lexicon as sort of your how you've contributed to the culture of filmmaking?
Oh, I don't think of it really that way because frankly, the fact that I never got another movie was pretty, really sucked because I did a fantastic job, said she modestly. And Paramount kind of just threw it out, didn't give it a release at all. They were suddenly, I don't know, embarrassed by it. I don't know, but there was no actual release. There was no press screening. There was a publicity blackout, especially on me because the producer didn't like me. So, I have very mixed feelings now because it wasn't promoted, it wasn't a hit. And therefore, as a female director, if you don't have a hit right off the bat, you're considered completely useless. So, I have mixed feelings. Is it great that it's sort of considered, a little bit culty now and that people, love it and come up to me and are thrilled? I mean, sure, it's fantastic, but it doesn't get me another job or another dime. But sure, would I prefer people to still have, incredibly fond memories of it? Of course. And, when I saw it, 9 months ago or so, I was shocked at how it had stood up. And, it stands up and it's still witty and funny. And Chris did a great script and everybody was kind of cute. And, I think a lot of my choices of, Stevie Ray Vaughan and all of that, I think some Pee Wee, there was some fabulous Fishbone. I mean, I think there were some great choices there that were so out of left field and people were like, wow, this is cool. So, it did work. It worked.
Did Frankie and Annette love sort of the newer spin you put on, like you said, with Fishbone and having Stevie Ray there?
Totally. I mean, obviously, Annette had never heard of Fishbone, but the minute she saw them and, we played her some music, she was like, sure, great. I mean, she was up for anything. Talk about a great attitude, professional, divine. I mean, they literally heaven to work with. I wish we'd made a sequel. I wish we'd ever, maybe got to do a TV series. Obviously, Annette got ill, unfortunately. But yeah, I think they really dug it. I mean, Fishbone arrived on set one day and were like, wait, what? What's going on? What are we doing in here? I mean, they were sort of completely bemused, and we, there was no time for, actual rehearsals. We were sort of rehearsed on the beach for 10 minutes. I remember that was an incredibly difficult day, because there were tons and tons of extras and choreography and Fishbone and playback. And, it was before cell phones, for crying out loud. It was tough stuff, but everybody just got in the groove and we pulled it off. But that was one number they definitely wanted to completely cut. So luckily I prevailed.
Well, I'm glad you did. But I mean, I guess just to start putting a bow on this, like, I'm kind of curious from your perspective, what is it about Frankie and Annette as a duo that has always managed to sustain and have such real staying power for audiences from generation to generation?
It's a really good question. I'm not sure I can analyze it and give you the best answer there is. I mean, just, I think really good vibes. I mean, it's genuine. I think people sense the fact that they were a divine couple, both with a great sense of humor. Obviously, the history before it, even if you hadn't seen the films, I think you sort of had some vague awareness that, the beach films from before.
For sure.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I guess the Mickey Mouse Club, Disney, that sort of whole vibe from Annette. Frankie having been, a bit of a crooner. Maybe it was older people who started watching Back to the Beach, and then, their kids got into it, because obviously older people would remember Frankie and Annette much better. I mean, I'm not sure precisely. I think it was just, a combination of a very good script, because the original script was useless. And that's why they couldn't get it going. And then Chris did this sort of fantastic rewrite. And then another friend of mine actually was on the set every day, down in Malibu, and we would tweak it, day by day. So great script, great choice of music. Thanks to me. And music supervisor was there. I didn't do it alone, obviously. And, it looked colorful. It looked fun. Actually, my brother, who was not in the union, but my fabulous artist brother, painted all the surfboards. Great production designer, Marlene Stewart, who's quite famous in Hollywood. And so it was this whole concoction of color, beach, fun, music. I don't know, it worked. Who knows what magic suddenly, kind of comes together and makes it work. But Siskel and Ebert saw it right off the bat, which I always was thrilled about. But other than that, it was, I think a lot of people, obviously at the time, snobby movie cinephiles thought it was, nonsense. And sure, it sort of is, but, good nonsense.
Good times are good times, no matter the era, no matter the intent. It's universal, and it's a beautiful thing. And just thank you for the work on this, and thank you so much for the time today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And don't forget to visit our friends over at Bay Street Video for all your DVD, Blu-ray rental, or purchasing needs this summer, as they are still open for curbside and some mailing delivery as well. Over at 1172 Bay Street, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, you can give them a call at 416-964-9088. That's 416-964-9088. Or send them an email at baystreetvideoto@gmail.com for any of your DVD and Blu-ray needs.